They call themselves the Guardians of the Galaxy.
What a bunch of a-holes.
Hooked on a feeling. I'm high on believing that you're in love with me.
Hi, I'm Leah, and I'm here with Brenna and a special guest, Ross, who happens to be a particular kind of comic book nerd, right? We're here to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy. We have not just seen it,
But hopefully
we will all see it very soon.
in the meantime, we'll just talk a whole lot about it.
I don't know anything about the world of Guardians of the Galaxy. I have not read the comics. I didn't play with the action figures. I don't know of any other iterations of it. I missed out. I've had a deprived childhood, I know. But I have to say, I am this blank slate that is really looking forward to seeing this movie. Tell me it's going to be interesting. It's not going to let me down.
I think it looks very fascinating. I'm slightly familiar with it. I'm more in the Thanos and Galactus camps. There are other Marvel cosmic characters who interact with them, but I never really read Guardians. So I'm excited to see this. And with Guardians, their main villain is Thanos, right?
They interact heavily with Thanos because a lot of their characters have got beef with him in the past.
Help us out. Who are these characters? Give us like a rundown very quickly on these characters, and then maybe you can tell us who the actors are that'll be performing them.
On that note, one of the most interesting things I think about the trailer we've seen so far is that it seems to know that no one knows who these guys are yet.
Who are you?
Star-Lord.
Who?
Well, Star-Lord, man. Legendary outlaw. Forget it.
These are guys no one knows, and I think they're playing off that for a lot of the comedy in this movie. It should be fun. Our hero, our protagonist, is Star-Lord. He's an American soldier. He's an every guy, meant to be kind of your everyday American soldier, thrust into space into a world he doesn't understand. And he's kind of a jerk, he's kind of adult, but he's witty and he's capable.
And he's played by Chris Pratt?
That's right, yep, of Parks and Rec fame, who's, I think is a perfect choice as well. He's, everyone was kind of surprised when that casting came out.
But then he lost the weight.
Exactly, yeah. And there were people like Joseph Gordon-Levitt wanted this role. And Chris Pratt was the one to get it, and that's interesting. It tells a lot about who the character's going to be on screen, I think.
There's this green woman running around in the trailer also.
She's, our female lead is Gamora, played by Zoe Saldana.
Who was blue in the last one, so she's trying green this time.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe it's a better hue for her.
Yeah. She's the team's explosive, violent, wildcard kind of character.
Okay.
She's the most overtly aggressive. Her common designation in the comic books is the most dangerous woman in the galaxy.
I'm sensing that there's going to be this kind of romantic interlude, something or another, between Star-Lord and Gamora.
That seems likely, yeah. In the comics, they've had Gamora's kind of had a relationship with several of heroes throughout Marvel history. She's been linked to a lot of the galactic heroes that have been popular, and because I think it's just part of her character. She's a physically aggressive character. She's also quite a liberated character as far as female characters are concerned. So she's a bit more overt in nature, both physically and emotionally.
And Groot is what is not who,
the
but
tree.
What is
the tree?
of all the characters that have been adapted for this film, it seems Groot and his best friend Rocket Raccoon they look like they've just stepped off the page. They are straight out of the comic, exactly how they're represented to us in the comic. They seem to be just like they are in the film. And I don't know what they're going to do with Groot's backstory. It's quite complex in the comics, how he's a monarch from a far planet. And a tree. And a tree. A giant tree.
He is
a gigantic tree, yes. He occasionally in the comics will be seen literally potted in his smaller form.
Oh, poor thing.
It's cute.
And he can grow from a little sproutling into a gigantic juggernaut of a creature.
Okay, so did Lord of the Rings steal Groot from...
Ents came first.
Oh, okay.
I can imagine Ents came first.
Thank you for clarifying that the Ents came before Groot's. Got it.
We have Vin Diesel doing the voice for, which is interesting since Groot only says, "I am Groot." That's all this character says.
So why do you cast someone like Vin Diesel to be the voice of a tree that says, "I am Groot"?
I am Groot.
I think that they're going to do like a Jay and Silent Bob type thing where he's just going to say, "I am Groot" throughout the entire time, and then at the end he might say something like, "To win this battle, you must find your inner strength," or give advice like Silent Bob does.
I certainly hope not. I don't know. I just
think
kind
it'd
of
be funny.
I didn't recognize his voice.
Well, we only hear "I am Groot" once in the trailers, but he probably recorded it hundreds of different ways for the character.
Well,
that's what I kind of expect to see in the film is his. Because Groot is saying other things. It's just to us, to the average ear, that's all it sounds like he's saying. In the comics, they justify it as you kind of read between the lines as if it's the rustling in his voice, the creaking in his timbers, and everything that is. He's an incredibly eloquent character. He simply, to the untrained ear, all they hear is "I am Groot."
And you get to play jokes off of that. Like you say "I am Groot," and you say, "Really? Is that what you feel about this situation, Groot?" And he goes, "I am Groot." So you can say anything off of him, which is like his and Rocket's back and forth.
Their relationship is very much. Rocket does obviously all the talking.
Well, I didn't recognize that actor's voice either. Now tell us who is Rocket again?
Rocket Raccoon is exactly what it says on the tin, pretty much. His character originates from an insane asylum where he and all his other anthropomorphic animals cared for the loonies who lived there. And
but Rocket wasn't.
Rocket was an employee.
He was an employee.
And they're sort of these cuddly characters looked after the poor loonies in this insane asylum until Rocket, the most heroic of them, went off to find his fortune in the world outside. And he's a space pirate. He is Han Solo. He's that kind of character.
Okay.
And somewhere along the lines, him and Groot crossed and became best buddies. And he is.
Is it before or after the walrus?
There is also a walrus. Yes.
There really is.
There's a space walrus that they hang out with.
Okay. All right. Well,
I'm not sure he's going to make it into the movies.
I hope not.
I hope not. Well, we've got Groot, Rocket, Star-Lord, Gamora, and who am I missing?
Drax the Destroyer, played by Dave Bautista, who is big and buff and strong, and he is also slightly green.
He's very green.
He's got like scar tissue, and he's another one of the characters who exists because of Thanos. His entire family was killed by Thanos, so he lives to kill Thanos.
Pretty much all of them have some beef with Thanos for some reason. I think it's their way to give us more information about who is the Marvel Cinematic Universe's main villain. This film should flesh him out a bit. It'll give us more backstory on just who this bad guy is.
Okay, but
we're going to see in later movies.
It seems like, though, that the trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy is very straightforward. They've assembled this band of ruffians or roughnecks to come together to save the universe.
It seems that it's a Dirty Dozen kind of storyline. Like you said, it's a bunch of yahoos recruited together by an ambiguous military force to save the universe.
Right.
And I think it should be accessible on that point, that it's a wild sort of spacefaring story that isn't going to be relying heavily on a lot of backstory, I think.
So I have one of the more nerdier questions here. You might not be able to follow along, but try. We have the Nova Corps involved here, and in the trailer, you see the symbol on their uniforms, on John C. Reilly's uniform.
And Peter Serafinowicz, Glenn Close.
Glenn Close. What's the role that the Nova Corps is playing with this crew?
They're an intergalactic police force. We can only assume that they're the ones who recruit Star-Lord and this team and put them together. And it'll be interesting to see how they involve them, because in the comics this didn't happen. They're related to the Nova stories in the Guardians of the Galaxy, but in the comics it was mainly due to the species known as the Kree, and apparently due to a licensing issue the Kree can't be used, and even who I believe will be our main villain in this film, the Guardians of the Galaxy, Ronan the Accuser, is a Kree. That's his species, and they're not allowed to call him a Kree in the film. So it'll be interesting to see what they do instead.
Okay, well, you know what? I am so excited about seeing this movie, and I feel like I could go to my friends now and just spout off a whole bunch of stuff that I've learned from you all today.
They'll call you nerd and take your lunch money.
That's right. I'd like to see them try it. Take my lunch money. I'd like to see them try it. I am really looking forward to this movie being released August 1st. Cheers!
Cheers!
I'm Groot.
God damn it.
That's the comic book.
Is it worth any money?
A couple $100.
Well, then what's it doing sitting there?